It was 2:22 in the morning when Emma Sinclair woke up for no reason at all. She lay still in the dark, staring at the ceiling, her heart pounding as if she'd been running. When she finally reached for her phone to check the time, the glowing numbers seemed to burn straight into her mind, 2:22. She didn't know it yet, but her life was about to change forever. If you've been seeing the number 222 everywhere lately, on clocks, receipts, license plates, or even in your dreams, this story is for you. Emma's journey will show you exactly what this powerful angel number means, and why it keeps appearing in your life right now, at this exact moment. Stay with me until the end, because the message she receives in this story may be the very sign your angels have been trying to send you. Emma was 32 years old, a pediatric nurse at a busy hospital in Portland, Oregon. She was good at her job, steady hands, a calm voice, the kind of person people trusted in their worst moments. But underneath the scrubs and the 12-hour shifts, something in her felt quietly, persistently unfinished, like a room in her life she had never let herself walk into. She had been with Daniel for 3 years. He was kind and dependable, the kind of man who remembered how she liked her coffee, but whenever she brought up the future, moving in together, building something bigger, he changed the subject. Emma told herself it didn't matter. She told herself a lot of things didn't matter. What she never told anyone was the dream she kept locked away, her grandmother's old greenhouse, sitting empty on the edge of town, full of cracked pots and dead soil. Grandma Ruth used to grow healing herbs there and teach Emma their names before she passed. Emma had always imagined bringing it back to life, turning it into a real healing garden, but always imagined was as far as it ever got. It started on a Tuesday. Driving home from a double shift, exhausted, Emma pulled up behind a car at a red light. The license plate read 222 ANG. She blinked, shook her head, and told herself it was nothing, just 3 numbers on a piece of metal. But something about it stayed with her the rest of the drive, an odd little itch at the back of her mind. Emma wasn't the type to believe in signs. She believed in charts, in vital signs, in things she could measure. So she pushed the thought away and walked inside her quiet apartment. The next morning, she stopped for coffee before her shift, the same order she always got. When the barista handed her the receipt, the total read $2.22. Emma stood there a second too long, staring at the small strip of paper in her hand. By the end of that week, it wasn't just once or twice anymore. It was the clock on her dashboard. It was a page number in a patient's file. It was the number of missed calls on her phone. Emma began to feel like she was being watched over, or maybe just watched, she couldn't decide which felt more unsettling. That night, she finally said something to her best friend Sophia over dinner. "I keep seeing this one number everywhere. 222. It's starting to freak me out a little." Sophia set down her fork and looked at her seriously. "That's an angel number, Em," Sophia said. "My aunt swears by this stuff. When a number keeps repeating like that, it means your angels are trying to get your attention about something. You should look it up." Emma laughed it off, but she didn't forget. Alone in bed that night, Emma finally typed the number into her phone. Angel number 222 meaning. Thousands of results appeared in an instant, and her thumb hovered above the screen, hesitant, as if she already knew this would matter. The first article she opened stopped her breath for a moment. It said 222 was a message of balance, faith, and alignment, a sign that something you've been quietly building, even in doubt, is falling into place exactly as it should. Emma read the words twice. Then she closed the phone, set it face down on the nightstand, and told herself she was reading too much into a coincidence. Life went on the way it always did. Shifts at the hospital blurred together. Bills arrived. Daniel stayed pleasant and distant in the same familiar way. Emma buried the strange little spark of hope the article had lit in her, the way she buried most things she wanted but was afraid to reach for. Then, on a Friday afternoon, an email landed in her inbox that she almost deleted without reading. A small wellness retreat outside Sedona, Arizona was looking for a nurse herbalist coordinator to help build their healing garden program from the ground up. It was everything she had ever quietly dreamed about, offered to her out of nowhere, and it terrified her completely. Emma read the email 4 times before she could even breathe normally again. She didn't tell Daniel that night. She didn't tell anyone. She just sat with it, the cursor blinking over the word Sedona, feeling like the floor had quietly shifted beneath her. The fear came fast and loud. Leaving a stable job. Leaving the city she knew. Leaving Daniel, or at least leaving the comfortable, unspoken version of their relationship she had learned to live inside of. Her parents would call it reckless. Some nights, lying awake, Emma agreed with them. Unable to sleep, she drove out to her grandmother's old greenhouse well past midnight. The glass panels were fogged with years of dust, but moonlight still slipped through in soft silver lines. Emma sat down among the dead pots and let herself cry for the first time in a long while. She remembered her grandmother's voice from years ago, patient and warm, kneeling beside her in the same greenhouse. "The angels don't shout at us, Emmy," Ruth used to say. "They just repeat themselves gently, over and over, until we finally stop and listen." At the time, Emma had thought it was just something sweet grandmothers say. Emma's eyes drifted to the old clock mounted on the greenhouse wall, the one that had stopped working the year her grandmother died. It was frozen at 2:22, exactly as it had been for years. She had walked past it 100 times without noticing. Tonight, she couldn't look away. The next evening, she finally told Daniel about the offer. He went quiet, then asked her not to go, listing every reason it didn't make sense: the distance, the risk, the life they'd already built together. Emma left his apartment that night feeling more alone than she had in years. She walked for almost an hour with no real direction, her thoughts circling the same impossible question. Stay where it was safe, or leap toward something that scared her but felt undeniably true. Portland's streets blurred past, wet with rain, reflecting streetlights in long gold streaks. She stopped outside a small bookstore, its window softly lit even though it was closed. Sitting front and center in the display was a book titled The Language of Angel Numbers, propped open to a page. Emma stepped closer and read the page number glowing under the shop light, 222. She stood there a long moment, then returned first thing in the morning to buy it. That night, she read deep into the chapter on 222, learning that this number often appears exactly at life's crossroads, not to tell you which door to walk through, but to reassure you that you are safe no matter which one you choose, as long as you choose with honesty. The book explained that 222 carries the energy of duality and partnership, of 2 paths, 2 hearts, 2 possibilities held together in balance rather than conflict. It spoke of divine timing, of trusting that what feels unfinished is not being ignored, it is simply being prepared. Emma read the same paragraph 4 times, feeling something inside her chest loosen. Somewhere around 2 a.m., she finally admitted the truth to herself. She hadn't been waiting for a sign from the universe at all. She had been waiting for permission to want something fully, for herself, without apologizing for it. The next morning at the hospital, the elevator display glitched twice, both times landing on floor 222 before correcting itself. Her coworker Maya laughed and said, "Weird, I've been seeing that number everywhere too, on receipts, on the radio dial, all week." Emma smiled quietly, no longer surprised. On her lunch break, she called Grace, an old friend of her grandmother's who had always had a gentle, knowing way about her. Emma told her everything: the offer, the fear, the number that wouldn't stop appearing. Grace listened without interrupting once. "Sweetheart," Grace finally said, 222 isn't asking you to choose between the job and the love. It's asking you to trust that when you move toward what's true, balance finds its own way to follow you." Something about the way she said it settled deep into Emma's bones. That evening, Emma didn't call Daniel to argue or to apologize. She called him to actually talk, no defending, no deciding in secret, just the truth laid out plainly between 2 people who cared about each other. It was the most honest conversation they'd had in 3 years. Daniel admitted something he hadn't said before. His fear was never really about the greenhouse, or Sedona, or her career. It was about losing her, and somewhere along the way, he confused holding on tightly with actually loving her well. For the first time, they talked about the future not as a threat but as something they might still build together, just not in the shape either of them had originally assumed. It didn't erase the uncertainty. It just made room for both of them to stand inside it honestly. A week later, Emma accepted the position in Sedona. Daniel didn't ask her to stay this time. Instead, he asked when he could come visit, and quietly began looking into work he could do remotely, one honest step at a time. Packing became its own small ceremony. Emma folded her grandmother's old shawl into her suitcase, along with seed packets from the greenhouse and a worn photograph of Ruth smiling in the sun. Almost as an afterthought, she wrapped the broken clock in a towel and packed it too. On the morning she left Portland, the sky was pale gold behind the clouds. Somewhere past the city limits, she glanced at a passing mile marker on the highway, 222. Emma didn't flinch this time. She simply smiled and kept driving. Sedona welcomed her with red rock cliffs glowing amber in the late afternoon light, and a small stretch of neglected land behind the retreat that was going to become her garden. Standing there in the golden dust, Emma felt something settle inside her that had been unsteady for years. The first weeks were harder than she expected. The soil needed work, funding was tight, and more than once she lay awake wondering if she'd made a terrible mistake. In those moments, she thought of the clock frozen at 2:22 and reminded herself that some things simply need time to start moving again. Then, slowly, it began to change. A guest at the retreat cried gratefully over a cup of chamomile tea Emma had grown herself. The first row of lavender bloomed along the garden's edge. Small proof, again and again, that she had not imagined any of this. One quiet evening, Emma finally repaired her grandmother's old clock, replacing the worn gears with steady hands. She set it to the correct time and watched the hands begin to move again after years of standing still. It no longer read 2:22 forever, it was simply keeping time now, moving forward, the way she finally was too. Sitting in her new greenhouse that night, surrounded by the smell of soil and blooming herbs, Emma finally understood what the number had been trying to tell her all along. It was never commanding her to choose one path over another. It was reassuring her, over and over, that she was already exactly where she needed to be. Daniel visited a month later, and stayed longer than either of them planned. Watching him kneel in the dirt beside her, planting rosemary with careful, unfamiliar hands, Emma realized that balance was never about having it all figured out. It was about two honest lives, moving toward each other, in their own time. Emma's story is fictional, but the message inside it is real, and it may be exactly why you were guided to watch this video today. If you have been seeing 222 on clocks, in phone numbers, on receipts, anywhere at all, your angels are not trying to alarm you. They are trying to reassure you. At its core, angel number 222 is a message of balance, harmony, and faith. It tells you that whatever you've been quietly building, a relationship, a dream, a new direction, even simple inner peace, is aligning itself, piece by piece, even in the moments it doesn't feel that way. Trust does not mean everything is finished. It means everything is in motion. This number also carries the energy of duality and partnership. It may be pointing toward a relationship that needs more honesty, a collaboration waiting to unfold, or even the relationship you have with yourself, the part of you that keeps playing it safe, and the part that already knows what it truly wants. Above all, 222 is a message about divine timing and patience. It appears most often right before a breakthrough, in the exact moment doubt feels loudest, as a gentle whisper not to quit right before everything shifts. Like Emma's clock, some things in your life may simply be paused, not broken, waiting for the right moment to move again. So if you've been standing at your own crossroads lately, torn between comfort and calling, safety and truth, take this as your sign. You are not being asked to have it all figured out today. You are only being asked to trust the next honest step in front of you. Take a slow breath, and repeat this quietly with me: I trust the timing of my life. I am safe to grow, and I am exactly where I need to be. Let those words settle in, the same way Emma finally let herself settle into her own path. If this story, or this number, found you at the right moment, let us know in the comments below. Your angels may be confirming something you already feel. Subscribe to Divine Angels for more signs, more stories, and more messages meant to find you exactly when you need them. Until next time, walk gently and trust the bridge you're standing on.